share screen, new share. Can you see now?
I see something new.
Yeah.
2640.
Yeah.
Okay. Krama, as you know, there is Sat Sandarbha, and within one, Sat means six. One is called Krama Sandarbha. Krama means in order, sequentially. So what does it do here, Jiva Goswami? It kind of addresses practically sequentially all the shlok of Bhagavatam. Sometimes he skips one or two, it's true. But anyway, so what is he saying here? 40, 41, that is why they are together, by the way, back to back, because we are describing the Svarup. What is the Svarup of the Lord? When we say the Svarup, can you give me a verse in the Gita where we are discussing the Svarup of the Lord?
It's chapter 8, verse 5. That's nature of the Lord's transcendental body.
Yeah, can you quote it?
Oh.
84, 85. How does it go? Yam yam vapi smarambavam chajatanti varam. That's more having to do with transmigration. But here, first, I was thinking of 4-6 in the Gita. Prakritim svam adishtaya is situated in his own prakriti. In that 4-6, when we say prakriti, it means svarup. If you look it up, 4-6, this is the svarup. That is his own ontological. It's a complicated word, but in English we say ontological position. Papa used that word oftentimes. Ontological means your inherent position. So here we're discussing about that. And again, same point as Vishwanath, same point, is so many adjectives. And that was one of my questions actually in the homework. Let's draw a distinction between the Jiv and the Lord. We should always be humbly aware of the difference. This is our philosophy. We are like Madhva. Madhva is Dvaitavad. Dvaitavad means dual. It's a dual philosophy. We should always, that's the purpose of Bhagavatam. We are always reminded of the differences. So that's one aspect. Achintya, bed, abed. Here we're talking about bed, the bed part. So let's go back to Krama Sandarbha. See, there's so many. Is pure. Are we pure? You may say, well, the soul is pure. Yes, Asango Yidam Purusha. But unfortunately, we don't live on the platform of the soul. The soul has the tendency to be covered over. Even though it remains pure, that's true. There is no sin in the Lord, ever. You cannot find fault with Krishna or Mahavishnu. There's no sin cannot touch him. He's different from all else, from all else. Are we different? Yes, we are different from one jiv to the next, but Krishna says in the Gita, one who sees the undivided spiritual nature in all beings, we belong to the same tattva. What is our tattva, Mataji? What is the tattva of the jiv?
Jiv tattva.
Yeah, we are 7-5, Jiva Shakti Mahabhuta. We are Jiv Shakti. This is exactly our position. We are Jiv Shakti. So it's different from all these things. Even Krishna says in Trishloki Shastra in the Gita, at the end of the 15th chapter, I'm beyond the Kshara and the Akshara. Kshara means us, we are fallible in rotating in this material world, but even the Ksharas, the Aksharas, in the spiritual world, in Vaikunt, They are aksharas. They are infallible. Krishna says, I'm beyond that also. I'm not one of the jiv in Golok or in Vikund. I'm still beyond that. So in that sense, pratyak is different. So it controls us. Can you see here, Jiv Goswami? It controls us. What is the verse in the Gita that corroborates that point? People say, no, I'm in charge. Give me a break. I'm running my life as I want. You give him that quote, you rub that shlok in his face. 1861. Ishvara Savabhutadam Ridadesha Juntishtati Ramayam Savabhutani Yantra Rudani Mayaya. I control the errands of all these jivas situated as they are on the yantra. Yantra means machine. We are not independent. It's only because Paramatma is within the soul that we are given the possibility to go to the post office, to go buy the groceries, to move the gear in our car, first gear, second gear, because of Paramatma only. If the jiv was not accompanied by the Paramatma, we could not do it. You follow? So even being a jiv, even being a soul is not sufficient. We have to be accompanied by the Paramatma. Even for nonsense, we need still the sanctioning of Paramatma. You follow? So Avastitam is everywhere. Are we everywhere? Shapimam 13:5. Krishna says, you know only your field, Arjun. I know all the fields. What are you talking about? I'm everywhere. It cannot be covered. It cannot be disturbed. We are tiny. We are Ekodeva. He's the one Lord himself, but we are very small. We know the size of the soul. We are infinitesimal. Chitkana in Sanskrit. Kana means particle. A particle. Have you seen the size of a particle? Satyam. So those two verses are, Brahma is establishing the tattva of the Lord. And of course, specifically of Mahavishnu. His truth, his sweetness, is Purnam. He cannot be diminished, even if he comes as a mosquito. Can the Lord be diminished if he comes as a mosquito? No, he's nirgun, nobody, no senses, spiritual qualities. He can appear in any form that it chooses. So this is that section of Bhagavatama. We are being told again and again by the Acharyas, by Brahma, that nothing is different from him, but at the same time is beyond. What is the verse in the Gita? It was quoted recently by Srila Prabhupada in 39 at the top. Maya tatamidam savam jagavetamurtina matstani sarvabhutani. Is not there. Krishna says in 9:4, everyone is in me, but I'm not there. Is there in what form? Is avyakta murtina. Avyakta, unmanifested murti. By dint of the display of his energies. So it is amazing. We are dealing with there's nothing else but him. I told you the other day. There's nothing else but him. See, there is no competitor. We are tiny amoebas. And people claim, no, I can be God. There's no competitor. No one can even come close. So it goes on. This is Jiva. All these verses, 40, 41, are very deep. This is the conclusion of all the acharyas. Man as well, just serve him, glorify him. Uh, all this false logic, asat tarke, taku pratishta, vivayo vibhinnam, even Yudhishthir tells in Mahabharata, forget your dry conclusions, your stale discussion. This is not how you're going to understand. Guhayam, Dharmatadvam Nihita Guhayam, it's totally hidden in the heart of the pure devotees. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, I'm running after the Vaishnava because that's the only course of action. He has the Lord in his heart. Please give it to me. Oh, Vaishnava Thakura. This is, I'm running. He knows. Why should I go in the Vedas even? Vedeshu Durlabham Durlabham Atma Bhakto. It's not even there in the Vedas. Unless you have Prem, you will not see. You may score, how do you say? You may browse through the whole Vedas, Chaturvedi, Trivedi. Still, the Lord will elude you. You cannot grasp him unless he condescends to reveal himself. Whichever forms, those who ignore the forms of the Lord, they'll doom basically. Even back to Shukdev, he has told us 219. Even Shukdev, can you imagine the level of Shukdev Goswami? He was Nirgun. He was self-realized. Still, I became attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. See, 1710. Atmaramacha munayo nigranti apyurukrame. Itambuta guno harihi. Even they are Atmaram, they are beyond the modes. Even they are totally enamored by the Lord, his gunas, his qualities. And see, Shukdeva acknowledges, I wanted to learn such a vast literature, but still I learned from my father. Now I'm going to tell you, and you yourself, my dear Parikshit, you are such a great personality. As Prabhupada says repeatedly, Parikshit is no less than Shukdev. Because Parikshit, can you imagine, is grandson of Arjun, is a Vishnu Parikar. So this is what we are discussing here. Again, 42, Adyovatara Purusha Parasya Kalasvabhava Sadasan Manascha Dravyam Vikaro Guna Indriyani Virat Swarat Stashnu Sharishnu Bhumnaha. This is Brahma speaking. You can tell 42, sorry. Are you there?
Yes.
This is
42.
42.
Just shifting. Okay. Karanar Navasai Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects, mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakashai Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. So, Prabhu, this word Karanarnavashai should not be
Yeah,
Karnodakashai.
yeah, I had
Yeah,
a problem too.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
that name?
It's got many names, You can call
But
him.
you know what? Just in the purport, they say Kannadakshay Vishnu, but I don't know why they mentioned 2 times that name.
Yeah, as I said, the Lord has many names. We can call him Mahavishnu, Kalanada
Okay.
Koshai Vishnu. Sometimes we see here it's a synonym. Huh? Karana Arnava. Arnav means we have to look at the Sanskrit. Arnava. Karana means cause, we know. uh, then Anarvashayi. So we're talking about the same. Huh? Oftentimes we call him commonly Kananada Kashai, Vishnu, sometimes Mahavishnu. And here it's quite uncommon, but I agree with you. But we should not be bewildered. It's another name. The Prabhupada doesn't find fault with that. He calls him in such a term in the purport, Karana Navasayi. We're talking about the original Mahavishnu. Uh, remember? Yasyeka is quoting, Prabhupada is quoting Brahma Samhita. Yasyeka nishvasita kalam matavalambya jivanti lom. Vilaja jagadadandanattaha Vishnu mahan seha yasya kala vishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So this is amazing. All the innumerable universes are maintained only during the breathing period of Mahavishnu.
Yeah.
I told you before, we'll discuss in the third canto. What is it? What is that that unit of time we're talking about here? That breathing period? Do you know the length?
Was it like
In
one
one nimesh.
Mesh.
One nimesh means not even, we're talking about 3/8 of a second on the level of Mahavishnu. And we are told is only a plenary portion of Govinda. So who are we? I mean, even Brahma, for our Brahma, one image means 311 trillion 40 billion years. You follow? When you break it down in relative time, what to speak of us? We live how long? 82 years, and you 85, and him perhaps 79, and this guy is going to live at 76, 72, the other one 92. I mean, we're talking about microseconds. Micro. So, I mean, we have to see the reality of our life. We are, like Pankaj Jangri Prabhu used to say, he used to say, we are flapping our wings for a few seconds. You know, you see a bird flapping his wings and up it drops dead. That's exactly the state of affairs. We are flapping our wings for a few seconds. That's the reality. All the rest is asat. And we are made believe that we're going to make it, everything's going to be okay. That's not the philosophy. Philosophy is we are flapping our wings and we better make a good deal of a bad bargain. It's a bad bargain to start with. So that's the reality. So 42, this is same. You can see the English of the verse. Everything is within him. Can you consider anything outside the scope? Time, space, cause, effects, mind, elements, ego, gunas. I mean, is there anything? Virat Roop. We have seen Virat Roop was such a big thing. We discussed at length many chapters. It's within. It's just one tiny aspect. The other Vishnus within also. The Samasta Jiv. Samasta Jiv means all the Jivs are considered one group, you know. It's called Samasta Jiv. We can take all the Jivs, animate and inanimate, put them in one bag. You can write on the bag Samasta Jiv. Samasta means the global, the sum total of all the Jivs. And what is the state of affair? This is one of my passwords actually. Avidya Vastajev. Avidya Vastajev means, avidya means ignorance. The avidya vasta, the substance of the jiv in contact with material nature is avidya. You should not forget, avidya kama samgyanya tritiya shaktireshyate. Because of this avidya, we contacted the third energy, tritiya, which is achit, asat, which is prakriti, apara prakriti. We contacted that matter because we wanted to enjoy separately. And what is the price to pay because we contacted matter? Through the modes. 1322 Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhungte Prakriti Jangunat Karanam Guna Sangosyat Sadasat Janmasu. This is the price to pay. Because we contacted the modes, the price to pay, Sadasat Yoni. Yoni means womb. We are taking birth in Sat or Asat. You become the progeny of a porcupine, can you imagine? You're born in the porcupine's female womb. This is the price to pay. Next life, you become born in the yoni of a female giraffe. And in a few billion years, you will be born in the yoni of a female human. And perhaps further down the line, you'll be born as a progeny of a demigoddess. Demigoddess, there's no womb business. No. If you're born from a demigoddess in Swagalok, immediately you appear and you grow and there's no growth. But this is a sign for the lady, for the mother, that she's going to leave the body. She's going to leave Swagalok. When demigoddesses become pregnant in Swagalok, that's the sign they're coming to the end of their cycle. Yeah. So you can see we are seeing things in perspective here. This is a very humbling section. And even Mahavishnu is just an expansion of an expansion of an expansion. Yeah, so Vishwanath here, I don't know if you can see Vishwanath. Bhumna. Bhumna is a very important name. Bhumna means God. Very often you see that in Bhagavatam. Bhumna is a name of God. It's a secondary name. So this Mahavishnu, we are told here, he himself is an expansion of the great Bhumna. Bhumna means the supreme original Parasya. Don't forget, 131, 1223. Remember, Jagrihe Purusham Rupam. Krishna accepts to play the role of the Vishnu avatars, to play the roles of the Guna avatars. You follow? We discussed so many times this point. He accepts. So we may say, oh, this is Mahavishnu now. Nothing to do with Krishna. No. He accepts to play the role of Mahavishnu. And through Mahavishnu is doing other stuff. As Krishna is doing, what is he doing? He's reveling in pastimes of love. Do you see Krishna working hands-on management? No, everything is delegated. But still, that is not different from Mahavishnu, but is also different. He accepts. See, this avatar, Vishwanath is saying, manifest with material powers by his will. So Mahavishnu is the one getting close to material nature. Yeah, so this is a reminder. Now let's get down to 43, 45. I'm going to skip the Sanskrit here because it's quite lengthy. Let's go straight into the English, 43.
Okay. Translation. I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourself, Narada, and the Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Bhuloka planet, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Gardhava planets, the leaders of the Vidyahara planets, the leaders of the Chandraloka planets, the leaders of the Rakshasas and Yugas, the greater sages, the great demons, the great atheists, and the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, Satan's, jinn, Kushmanadas, great aquatics, great beast, great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perpetual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in the form of formless, may appear to be a specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord. So everything that's mentioned here is just a fragment of the potency of the Lord. Just like a tiny bit of it, right?
Can you imagine? This is an expansion, I would say, of which verse in the guitar? It reminds me very closely of that verse in the guitar. I'll give you a clue. 10th chapter. Have you seen?
Yeah,
Yes.
where the Lord says, out of one fragment portion, I am pervading all these universes.
Yeah. Remember,
Mm.
this is called Vibhuti Yoga in the 10th chapter. And Arjun is asking, Vibhuti means excellences, opulences. So he's asking, he's practically pummeling Krishna with questions. I want to see, I want to see your excellences in detail. I want to see the mystic power of your opulences. And Krishna is quite lovable. He loves Arjun, so he's going to commit to that. And he's going to show perhaps 82, I would say, of his vibhutis. Uh, I'm the super soul. I'm the skill in human being. I'm the splendor of the sun. Remember? Of the moon. I'm amongst the Adityas. I'm Vishnu, etc. Among the sages, I'm Brigu. So he's just splashing a few, 82. And then 1042, what is the need for all this detailed knowledge, Arjun? Krishna becomes a bit upset, very slightly, not much, but he's a bit annoyed. Yeah, annoyed is better. What is the need for all this detailed knowledge? By a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire creation. So, and this is Krishna, it's not even Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is still way below. Already we are hearing about Mahavishnu here through Brahma, the power of Mahavishnu. It's already, it makes you dizzy. And Krishna says, 1042, it's way beyond that verse. What is the need? As if to say, even that verse today, 43 under study, that's fall under 1042. What is the need even? I pervade. In other words, Mahavishnu for Krishna is just a color. It's just a plenary, oh man, it's great. It's God himself. It's a plenary portion. So when he says 1042, what is that fragment that pervade and support everything? Uh, Specifically speaking, which Vishnu are we referring ourselves to here in 1042 in the Gita? This is Paramatma. This is
Kshirodakasha Vishnu.
Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So you follow, we have to always put things in perspective as far as possible. We are dealing, it's totally beyond us. We take it for granted in ISKCON because we have been taught like this. You know, Krishna, okay, no problem, I understand. But because we see him on the altar, you know. But most of the time we forget the magnitude of the person we are dealing with. It eludes us because we are so much in the world. Just like, you know, let's say you are the son of, I don't know, it's a very mundane example. You know, let's say your father, we have a guy here, His name is Pierre Arnaud in France. They're always competing. Is it Elon Musk? Is it Bill Gates, the richest, or is it Pierre Arnaud? Talking about $150 billion. And they are in, if you look at the magazine Fortune, they're always fighting for the first position. Is it Elon Musk? Is it Bill Gates? And sometimes one month it's him, the other month it's that, by a few billions from one month to the next, they overpower the other. So just imagine you are a 5-year-old boy of one of those three guys. It's a mundane example because they are not spiritually inclined. But do you have understanding of the power of your father, the magnitude of his energies, of his the way he deals on the planet Earth, the magnitude of his business enterprises? No, because you are 3 or 4. All you're born with a golden spoon in your mouth, and you have a very lavish lifestyle. You have no clue. Later, as you grow, yes, you have more clue, but still you're far. That's a very mundane example because these guys have their own limitations and they may be going to hell anyway. So in the same way, this is his potency. So we hear in English, E43, it may appear to be the specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. You cannot say, okay, I'm going to add up all the energies of Krishna, then I put equal, and that's Krishna. Can you say that? Let's say you are capable of adding up all the Shaktis, Parasya Shakti Vivideva Shriyate. Okay, I've got 534 energies, plus 1, plus 2, plus, I come to 800,532 energies. Now I understand what is Krishna. Is it just by adding up his energies that you're going to understand Krishna? No. So this is the same point of affair here. It's being quoted. Let's look at you. You're going to see Jiva Goswami, what he says here. It's very interesting. Let me share my screen with you. Krama Sandarbha. Look, can you see my screen?
Yes.
See, Jiva Goswami is so paka. He knows the names even of each leaders. We are told the leader of the Gandharvas. Do we know the name? No. Vishvavasu. The leaders of the Chalanas, Pushpadant. Kuver we know, is the head of. Kuver was a very interesting personality. He's the is a stepbrother of Ravan. Ravan and Kuver have the same father, but he had 2 women. One was Asuri, he had Ravan, and the other was Devi. She was demigoddess. He had Kuver. Niriti, at the head of the Rakshas. Niriti. Vasuki, the head of the Uragas. Anantashesh, actually, is head of the Nagas. Vashisht is a Prajapati. Yeah? Pitri is Yamaraj, Pitrilok. He lives on Pitrilok. Daitya means the mother is Diti. She's one of the wife of Kardam Muni. And she's the mother of Hiranyakashipu. So she has begotten the Asuras. She shouldn't be. She's a great lady. That's at the dawn of creation. Her husband is Kardam Muni. Very powerful entity. He's creating the different races. Can you imagine? So the head of Daitya is Palad. The head of the Siddhas. What is Siddhalok? If you go, it's a satellite of Brahmalok. Narad is coming from Siddhalok. Sanak, the 4 Kumars. The Danavas were the ones. It's a dangerous dynasty. It's a dangerous species. Danavas means they are ill-intentioned. They are the one who used to control Duryodhana. When Duryodhana would become weakened in his resolve, demonic resolve, he was at night, it would be monitored by the Danavas. The boss of that clan is Vrishaparva. See? And they're coming from Kashyap. Sorry, I was making a mistake. Diti is one of the wife of Kashyap, not Kardam. Sorry, I made a mistake. Kashyap is a very powerful Prajapati. Okay? So everything is there. Jiva Goswami is so paka. See the pretas, the pisachas, they are bhut, they are ghosts. They have the leaders also. Gantakarna. The leaders of the Bhutas, Bhairav. Sometimes you have seen people so much in the mode of ignorance, they worship Bhairavi in India, which is a very low form of Durga. The Kushmandas, Bringi, Timingil. You know what is a Timingil? Is the leader of the aquatics. What is a Timingil?
It's a species like the whales who eat huge whales.
Exactly. My son is totally enamored by this. Day and night is telling me, look at this one, look at this one. They can eat. Have you seen the blue whale?
No.
Do you know the size of a blue whale? It's 150 tons.
Wow.
It's 30 meters long. It is the size of 10 buses lined up one behind the other. 10 buses. 150 tons. 150 tons.
In the Mahabharata, Bhishma, Karna, and other they are compared to Timingla.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
to go back to Krishna book, the Timingil eats the blue whale in one gulp. Purnachandra Mataji, you understand? In
I
one
didn't.
gulp. And it's not finished. Prabhupada says in the Krishna book, there's another fish, Mahatimingil. They eat the timingil in one gulp. See? So we are still groping in the dark, even in the realm of aquatics. We don't even know what's down there in the ocean. Of course, you may say it may not be in this ocean. Yes, that's granted. Could be a different part of the universe. But I mean, we have no clue of the size of beast. Amongst the beast, the lion. We should always respect the lion. This is coming from Vijayadwaj Tirt, very great Acharya. He commented on Bhagavatam. So you can see Yagya, Brahma and Shiv, we know they are Avesh. They are Gunavatars, they're also Avesh, empowered. Uh, everything is basically within his Shakti. Everything falls under different Shaktis of the Lord, cause and effects of the Shakti. It's not different, but it's different. Then Jeev quotes Bhagavatam 158. This is exactly why Vasudev was not happy, because that's the key person we have to glorify. Everything else is unfolding from him. Why should we worship the energies? Might as well go back to the Shaktiman, the possessor. And that's what he told him. Guru Nanak told him, you didn't glorify enough. How can you it seems like you have been undone, my dear Prabhu. And he's a bit sarcastic, Nanak, actually. What's wrong with you? You're supposed to have written the Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Darshana. You're supposed to be Brahman realized yesterday. How do you want your readers to be realized? You yourself are not realized. So Nanad is quite heavy. He's kind of rubbing it on his face, actually. And Vyasadeva is himself Vishnu. in this age, in this particular Bhagavan Chakra Rishihi. Yesterday is himself Vishnu. He's not a jiva. Oftentimes he's a jiva, but in that particular yuga is Vishnu. And still is getting the souls from Narada. And of course he acknowledges, yes, my dear Guru Maharaj, yes, you're right. I didn't glorify enough. So everywhere in the Bhagavatam it is the same point. We have to turn to Krishna. We have to glorify Krishna. This is the whole purpose of Bhagavatam is to bring us to that focused results. That's why it culminates in 10th canto, Ashraya Ashraya, and the Summum Bonum. We are studying, it's very interesting, but we should come to finally, at the end of the day, to this original personality, even beyond Mahavishnu. So let's see if I've got some homework on this one. This is, oh yeah, very interesting. I forgot. See, in the purport 43, very interesting. I want you to explain this progression. There's a beautiful progression.
Okay.
Starting with, you have seen that in North America before the whites came, and the Red Indians, they used to worship. Whom did they worship? Let's say 200-300 years in USA. There was no whites. There was those guys, called the Red Indians. They've been here for centuries. What did they worship? They had some kind of worship, remember?
I think they worship nature like God, like sun or something. Wind.
Yeah, they have this column. It's called Manitou in French. I don't know how you say that in English.
Them.
A totem, I think it's called
Yeah,
totem.
yeah, totem. Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, even there is, you may say, well, it's extremely primitive. Yes, but still, the totem means the sun. They were quite adorable. They have a very good tendency to worship the sun, which is to be acknowledged. The sun is definitely a vibhuti. So Prabhupada starts from there in the purport. Did you notice? Beginning, okay, we are bewildered, enamored by the the bedazzling feature of the material nature. The Aborigines, the great thunderbolt, the sun. You can see
They,
that in
they
Inca
worship
as well. Yes, Prabhu.
they also worship Garuda.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have seen the Incas in South America. Huh? It's a very advanced civilization. They used to have Viman. Viman means spaceship. Huh? Can you imagine? And they were very much keen on worshiping the sun. And it's to be acknowledged. And then gradually, Prabhupada explained, they are undeveloped, okay, but still, even a slight display of the Lord's potency is captivating. I mean, the sun, look at so many studies have been done on the sun. What is the heat of the sun? What is the measurements, the orbit? Because it's captivating. Why? Because it's a slight display of the Lord's power. So there's two types of people. There is beginning. What's happening? You should be speaking actually, not me. And he explains very nicely the Shaktas, the Ganapatyas, the Suryas. Did you
Yes.
notice? What does it do,
Yeah.
Prabhupada? Is bringing us to very slowly through that progression. You can take over someone. Study
Yeah,
that.
I saw the Shaktas. They were the worshippers of the great powers, right?
Yeah. See, this is one of the plight of India. The Shaktas, they are considering, yes, Yatomat Tatopat, Krishna, yes, I understand. But Ganesh is fine, also Durga. So they come to the understanding they are still dealing with, Even Prabhupada said here, even the scientists are considered Shaktas. What made them Shaktas? Try to explain to me why they're not Vaishnavas. Technically, they fall under this category, Shaktas. Why? Shaktas comes from the word
Shakti.
Shakti. So what does it imply?
Because they're worshippers of great power, so they don't worship the god. They only worship the powers. Like
Exactly. In other words, they are captivated by the interactions of material energy. See? Krishna yesterday explained 111. Tejo valvinam yata vinimayo yatra tisago mrisha. Whatever you see, look through your window. What do you see? I can see trees, houses. Everything is transformation of the modes, isn't it? It's a transformation of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. Krishna says, 4, 6, whatever you see, my dear Arjuna, is transformation between Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. 1327, same story. Whatever you see is a transformation between the Kshetra and the Kshetragya. The Kshetragya means the Jiv, Anuatma. So it's so transformed. Sadvikar, the body is transformed. We take birth, we grow, there is some types of little bit of stagnation. Then we want children. It's a very strong urge. It's called what's the Uttaya. It's one of the 10 topics. Utti. We want children. We are craving for progeny. So that's one of the vikaras of the body. Then gradually the boy is growing, and then we're dwindling, 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 dwindling. Then death is knocking on the door. So it's soul transformation. So the Shaktas, what's the problem with them? They become bewildered, bedazzled. That's the right word. They become bedazzled by the great powers of God. Unfortunately, they stop at material energy, the transformation. The NASA, it's a big thing, NASA. They're just enamored by this planet, that planet. They're still within the compass of material energy. And I was reading yesterday, I was teaching, I think, I forgot which group, but Prabhupada said it's demonic. Can you imagine? He's telling NASA is demonic. Okay, it's so heavy. Why? Why does he say that? Any clue? It's quite heavy, Prabhupada. It's demonic because they want to apprehend, they want to study, analyze the energies of God and at the same time they obliterate the position of God. Obliterate means to remove. They remove him from the equation. There's no God. Let's concentrate on going to the moon, to the Mars. See, as if I use your fortune, I use your belongings, thinking you're not there, thinking you don't see me, and you don't even acknowledge to others when you use my stuff that it belongs to me. You follow? You're using my car, using my house, you're using my tools, and people say, "Wow, this guy he knows it all. He has a lot of stuff," but you don't even say that it belongs to me. So that's why Prabhupada say they are demonic. It's heavy. Prabhupada is heavy, but it's all Shaktas. They're worshippers of the great powers. Then gradually, what's next? Look at the purport. What's next?
Suri something, yes.
Yeah.
Shakta Suryas.
Sorry, Arishori is the name. Oh, actually, there's a devotee, Arishori. Sun God. Sun God stands even above that. See? Sun god means it's a great thing. You cannot diminish the sun, but I mean, we should go beyond. Should go beyond. We know that the sun is one of the eye of the Lord. And then even higher, Prabhupada says,
Sunny Deva and Sital Devi.
Ganapatya. Huh? What's the meaning of Ganapatya? Ganapati?
Ganapati worshippers of the mass of people.
Yeah, Ganapati means Ganesh.
Oh, I didn't know.
And of course, can you see the clue here? Janata, Janardan, Dandra Narayan. Whom is he referring to here?
Natanja. I don't know.
Who's calling? They're calling each other, oh, Daridra Narayan, how are you today? Oh, Janardan, how are you today? Whom is he talking about here?
Ganpati, like
He's talking about the impersonalist.
oh,
Mayavadis. Prabhupada touched on them. We discussed a few purports ago. Oh, my dear Daridra Narayan. Daridra means poor. So please explain to me what is their drive? What is their catch? My dear Narayan, my dear Daridra Narayan, what do they intend to do here when they salute themselves? Oh, how are you, Daridra Narayan, today? Daridra Narayan means poor Narayan. So it reveals their very poor form of knowledge. We are an old God, but now we are Daridra, we are poor. Can you imagine? And one day when we snap out of it, we snap out of Maya, we'll become God. Literally. Now we are Daridra Narayan. We are a bit covered over. So how do you defeat this foolish philosophy? What do you say to them?
Like Narayan is not poor.
Exactly. How can Narayan be covered over by his own ignorance, by his own, by some other factor, by some other ignorance portion? If he is God, how can he become Daridra? How can he become poor in the first place, even momentarily? You follow? Oh, I'm God, but not now. I'm going to become God. Don't worry. I'm giving you a check, Moshe Prabhu, 5 billion or 5 million, let's say. And I say, please hold on to it. Money is not there. I'll give you when you put it in the bank. I'll tell you. You follow? It's a post-dated check. This is nonsense. God is never covered over. This is even below my boy. It's like kindergarten philosophy. It's trash philosophy. It's a trash philosophy. There's no philosophy. Anyway, and then very interesting. Then Sitala, Sanidev. Sanidev is who is Sani?
Sunny's son.
Is
No,
a son of sun god Vivashva.
exactly. Be careful, Mataji. Shanidev is Saturn.
Oh,
See, I'm into astrologically. I'm into this. I've got a big, what do you call it, house now under Saturn, and within you find sub houses. You may be traversing Saturn or Brihaspati, but you find yourself within that big house governing your life now. You may find sub houses. Now, personally, I'm into Ketu, I think, within Saturn. Sanidev is good for spiritual life, but Sanidev tends to be very harsh when it comes to material possessions and stuff. But Sanidev, who is, by the way, Sanidev is a worshipper of?
Lord Shiva.
Actually, no, Nishingadev.
Oh,
Nrsimhadev. Yeah. And then next, who is coming in the picture? Prabhupada is telling
Sitla Devi.
Sitala Devi. See, I didn't know that. It's very interesting. Goddess of smallpox. You know what is smallpox? You have seen
Yeah.
in India, they have, how do you say, spots on the face. And they got that when they were kids. And it has remained some
Marks, yeah.
blotches, some marks, all over the face. You can see the guy he's got small holes. That's due to smallpox. It's a very heavy stuff disease. It gives you, it's going to deform your face, basically. So the common people in India, they worship her because they don't want to get smallpox. And then even lower than that, you will find Sri Upanishad explain, you will find the Manava. Manava Siva. Yeah, Gandhi was pretty much on that level. What is remember in essence, quickly, what is the philosophy of Gandhi? Harijan. We have to worship the Harijan. Remember? Harijan means Harijan. The poor people. He used to say, oh, they are so poor. They are actually to be worshipped. What kind of nonsense is this? He's Gandhi himself. How can he stoop so low? Does it mean if you're rich, you're not to be worshipped? So it's a foolish conclusion. Oh, you are rich. You're not worthy to be worshipped. Oh, he's a poor guy. Let me worship him. What kind of nonsense is this? In the Sri Upanishad, Prabhupada draws a very clear distinction between Manav Seva and Madhav. Madhav Seva. So please explain the difference. People are thinking, oh, if I worship humanity, I worship God. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
No.
What is the flaw? What is the pitfall in that philosophy? Prabhupada is very expert in the Sri Upanishad. He exposes the pitfall. One point only. Why can we not worship the people?
Because there are 4 defects.
Yeah, because they're imperfect. Now, if you reverse it, you get into Madhav Seva. Then you can help out. You can facilitate the jivas by giving them Madhav Seva. If you want to help the people, well and good. I agree with that. It's fine. It's wonderful. It's laudable. But give them Krishna. Then you're going to help them. You follow? This is the proper sequence. First Madhav, then Manav. Manav means humanity. Anyway, yeah. So we'll stop here. It's 7:13 here. We're gone. I think no, I forgot. When did we start? Oh, we start a little confused. We start at 5:30, so we are still within the frame. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
But we can go for up to 7:30 a.m. It's 7:13 now. We can go to another 15 minutes. Okay. Let's finish the chapter, actually. I'm full. We have only one chapter left, one verse left. Okay. Pradhanyato yanrisha amananti ilavataram purushasya bhumnaha. Again, see, bhumnaha. We have seen that word very recently. Bhumnaha. Bhumnaha. Remember that name in 42. Bhumnaha. Bhumnaha is the name of God. It's a secondary name, I know. It's not a primary name, but still. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan anukramishye temam supeshan.
O Narad, now shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord known as Leela Avtaras. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matters accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore they are in my heart.
Okay, so go ahead, Prabhu.
Mhm. Uh,
Okay, when I was reading, I thought what they said was about Leela Avtara was the Lord appears in different forms when he has to appear, and it's transcendental activity of the Lord, and there were two varieties of
Prabhu, when we do the invocation of Srimad Bhagavatam, like Mangalacharan,
Yes,
Srinvatam for Krishna, Riddhi, like it removes all abhadrani, obstacles by
yes,
hearing. And like it says that once you start to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord made a contract with you. You cannot break that contract.
exactly. I fully agree. Bhagavatam is the supermost excellent Nigama Kalpataloga Phalam. If you stick to Bhagavatam, even from afar, there will be a tremendous benefit. Shinvatam Shradaya Nitya Grinatas Vacheshtitam Kalinana Titirgena Bhagavan Vishate Ridi 284. Shukdev is saying, Shinvatam Shradaya Nitya. Always. Nitya means always. Shinvatam Shradaya. It's a bit different from 1 to 16 you were quoting. Shinvatam Shradaya with faith. Grinatas Vacheshtitam. Earnestly. Earnestly. You have to study Bhagavatam earnestly and with great effort. Then Kalina Natir Dirgena. Kalina means in no time. Bhagavan Vishate Ridi. Vishate means to enter. Bhagavan, not Paramatma is there, you may say, but Paramatma is neutral. But Bhagavan Vishate Ridi in your heart. Very powerful Bhagavatam. This is one of the Panchanga Bhakti. Even if you have a Pancha, what is that verse of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu? Stupan Shake. What is that verse? Even Shrad. What is that verse? I'm trying to remember. Sometimes I forget my verses also. Yes. Duru Adbud Viryasmin. Duru. It's difficult to understand. It's Adbut, this Panchanga Bhakti. Adbut. Adbut means Adbut Mandir in Mayapur. Adbut means wonderful, amazing. Duru Adbut Viryasmin. It's difficult to understand the power of these five. Shraddha Dure is to Panchake. Panchake in those five. Even Shraddha Dure, you have a faint. Dure means distant. Shraddha Dure is to Panchake. You have a faint Shraddha, faith in those five. Not even powerful. Yatra Svalpopi Sambandha. Your Sambandha with those five is Svalpo. Svalpo means meager. Alpa Medasa. Those who are Alpa Medasa worship demigods. So Svalpo means, meager Sambandha. Your connection with those five Panchanga Bhakti is meager. Sadhya Bhavajan Mane. If you're not offensive, you will get bhav. And Bhagavad Shravan is within the five. So all this to say that even if you have a faint connection with Bhagavad, what to speak if you have a strong, with great effort, earnestly you study, what to speak. You follow? Of course, you may say there are other angas, I know. But as we grow, I think we become a bit specialized, This one is a great pujari, this one is great cook and great Ratha Yatra. We're going to have Ratha Yatra here very soon. He organizes, there's one devotee every year, he organizes Ratha Yatra. He's expert. He's been doing it for 30 years. He's expert. So there's no question on removing him from that service. He's so expert. You assist him, yes. But the guy is expert. That is his job. You don't, we know this person is, there's no question of removing him. He's expert. So after some time, we have to become experts in one domain. What to speak, like Prabhupada is expert in all the domains. So that's unheard of, but at least one domain or two. So now we are closing this chapter. We discussed with Guna avatars. See, I was sharing, I don't know if you can see the base here. They are material qualitative incarnations. We are dealing with Vishnu avatar. It's still pertaining to the material creation, right? Now we're entering from chapter 7, scheduled incarnations with specific functions. Now we are entering the world of Lila avatar. You follow? And it's very much like Noshingadev, Vamdev. That's totally transcendental. And by the way, it corresponds to the way back, the 6th question of the sages, remember? Tell us about the acts of the Lila avatars. Remember, it was one of the questions of the sages. Very pleasing to the heart. Rit Kanukrit Rasayana Kataha, 325-25. Kapil Dev is saying it's very pleasing. Abhiram. Abhiram means pleasing. There's a verse. Gyane prayasam mudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukalitam bhavadiya vartam stane stitam shrutikatam tanuvan manobir ye prayaso jita jito prayasas trilokyam. This is 10:14:3, I believe. So we have to reject all the gyan and stanistita, remain in our occupation and listen to Katha, Krishna Katha. Either straight from Krishna, Gita, or from the mouth of pure devotees. Now Brahma is speaking. So we might as well listen. And then Jita Jito Pyasites Trilokyam. Ajit is unconquerable. But it becomes Jita. It becomes conquerable. Why? Because you have an inclination to hear. Then Krishna becomes softens in his heart. Oh, he likes to hear. She likes to hear. 1326, remember the Gita? 1326, even if Prabhupada Krishna says, even if you don't have much brain, you cannot understand philosophy so much. But they like to hear. Mrityu Shruti Parayanaha, 1326. They will also get free from samsara. I remember Buddhism would give the class, perhaps 25 people are sitting. Perhaps 10 are full-fledged students. 10, not more than that. And over the years, it would diminish. But others are coming. They like to hear. This is Kali Yuga. They're not going to do the exams even. But they like to hear. So that itself is very powerful. So there's two types of, we'll finish up with that. There's two types of listeners. There's two types of listeners in 46. Not listeners, I would say, two types of glorifiers. Some worship, some, you can tell me perhaps according to 46, what are the two types of
Okay, the two varieties were the
glorifiers, you know?
Mandani Mar, or the manifestation. What is this? The material manifestation of material creative force.
Yes,
And
that's the right thing.
was the incarnation in different forms of his pastimes.
Exactly. So now we discussed, you have seen chapter, ever since 252, those questions of Narad were very high leveled. We discussed a lot about material energy, the Vishnus. Brahma himself is involved into Visarga, secondary creation. And it's great, talking about the creative forces. But now we're going to go higher, talking about the Lila avatars. Because the Lila avatars are, Lila means they are engaged in pastimes. And we're going to discuss about the schedule of, it's a bit like the third chapter in the first canto. Remember, 22 avatars were cited. Anyway, I'll stop here. I've got a phone call also. So let me.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu's.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. We'll start it off next time from chapter 7. Hare Krishna.
Oh, thank